Hi, my name is Alexandra Goberi with Riot News, and welcome to the first ever Family is Hangout on Hangouts on Air. Family is the collaboration between Refugees United, UNHCR, and Church World Service to reunite refugee families that haven't seen each other in years. We're trying to bring them together before the holidays. Today we'll be speaking to Sony, a refugee from the Congo currently residing in the US, and his nephew, Edmund, who is now living in Nairobi, Kenya. The two are separated by an ongoing conflict in the Congo that the United Nations has called the worst conflict since World War II. Millions of lives have been lost, and millions of others were forced to leave their homes and their family members behind. So, without further ado, I would love to bring these two back together. Let's bring Sony on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm doing great.
You're welcome.
I'd like to just ask you, since this is the Family Is campaign, what exactly does family mean to you, and why is it important to you?
According to me, the family is like in my life, my family has like 99% the way I give the value of my family. I know I can live according to my family's like support or idea or guideline. And then I know that whatever I'm doing now, I have the foundation or the education, the first education that I got is from them, from my dad, my mom, my relatives. I
Wow.
think in our culture we really value the family. I know in my family I have only like 1%, and then all other 99% it's the family. I know I can give my whatever I have for the best of my family. Yeah, I really value my family. That's according to me and my culture.
That's beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about the day you left the Congo?
Uh, yeah, sure. The day I left the Congo was I can't forget because it was not the good day, and that's the day I was separated with my family. I was living in Bukavu, and then 2004 we was attacked, and then we ran away separately. Uh, that's the last time for me to start the lonely life. I can say that. That's the day I start my own life, and then from that day till now, I doesn't have a chance to see uh, anyone from the my family.
Wow.
Yeah, and then go ahead.
That's such a moving story. Can you tell us, or do you mind telling us how it wound up that you are here in the US and Edmund is still in Nairobi?
Yeah, I know. When I ran away, I was in Bukavu. I go to Goma and then I go all the way to Nairobi. I spent like since 2004. I left Bukavu and then I leave Goma and then I go to Nairobi was 2007. So since that day, I just go direct to Nairobi and then I stay there. By the best chance, I was resettled by CWS and then I come in United States. And then that way he came after me and then he came all the way to Nairobi. That's why he lived there and then I live here. We didn't come at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about Edmund, what Edmund is like as far as you remember?
Uh, According to Edmond, as I told you, I really value the family, and Edmond, he is my nephew. I doesn't see it his dad, who is my brother, and then I value him as my brother, even though he's my nephew, but I look at him as my brother by now. And
Mm-hmm.
he's in the place of his family. I really value him as my brother's family, not one of my brother's family, my brother's family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know what I should do with my brother. I can do it with Edmond now. Yeah.
How
That's
many
how I can describe him.
how many years has it been since you two have seen each other?
7 years.
Wow. And did you ever
Yeah.
think that you were going to be able to see each other again?
Can you repeat the question again, please?
Did you ever think you would be able to see each other again?
Mm, yeah, sure. If you think negatively, it may affect your mind. But according to me, I was thinking that one day, even if I didn't know which day, but I had that uh, dream that one day I will see him again.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
great. It's great that you think so positively. And I guess that kind of leads me to my next question, which is how do you keep going even though you're separated from your family? What is your motivation?
My motivation is that I myself, I still alive. When I was separated with them, wherever they are, maybe they don't know that I am alive. But since I'm alive and I passed through the same circumstances, I know that they may struggle the way I did, and then they are still alive. Wherever they are, at the same time, wherever I am, we'll meet one day if they are still alive. But I am sure they are still alive since I'm still alive.
That's such a great way of looking at it. How did you feel when you found out you're going to be able to see Edmund again right here?
Can you repeat the question?
How did you feel when you found out you'd be able to see Edmund again here?
I really excited to see him again. The sound, the image, uh, it bring me back many things in my mind. Yeah.
So let's do that. Let's bring Edmund on air. Edmund is going to be live in this hangout from Nairobi, Kenya, as well as his translator, Farhia Shaz, who works with Refugees United. Let's reunite you guys.
Thank you. Wow.
Tell us, Sony, how does it feel to see Edmund again?
I'm very, very excited.
Hi,
Very excited.
Edmund. How are you doing?
Yeah, maybe you need an interpreter.
Let's switch the headphones over so that Farhia can hear for a second, and then she'll be able to interpret the questions. Hi, Farhia. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Alexandra. Thank you.
Could you ask Edmund how it feels to see Sony again?
Okay. Unaulizwa unasikiaje kumwona mjomba wako Sony?
Nasema kwamba nimefurahia sana kwa kumwona kwa sababu ni muda mrefu bila kuonana.
Edmond is saying he feels so happy to see Sony again because it's been 7 years. Actually, it's so long that now he's seeing Sony. So he's happy.
Sony, what is the best thing about seeing Edmund right now? And maybe Farhia, you can switch the headphones over to Edmund so he can hear the response.
Yeah, the best. You mean the best things to see him again?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. How can I describe? He looked like my brother.
You should tell him that.
Nakwambia unafanana na
Na ndugu yake.
Yeah.
Ya tunafanana.
Yeah.
Why don't we ask Edmund what the best thing is about seeing you, Sony?
Um, unaulizwa ni nini kitu kizuri ambayo imekufurahisha kumwona Sony?
Ya ile kitu imenifurahisha sana ni kwa sababu nimehimizwa kwamba na wale wote tumekosana nao inawezekana kwamba tunaweza wapata tukiendelea kuishi na kutafutisha. Yeah.
Edmund is saying that the best thing is that since he is now seeing Sony alive, this is actually giving him hope that the other ones that they lost contact with, actually he's going to see them once again as he's seeing Sony now. So the issue is that they should just search for each other and then they'll meet.
That's beautiful. Farhia, since you have the headphones on still. Oh, you switched over. All right, well, I'd just like to know what both of you have to say to people who are still out there looking for their families. And Edmund touched on it a little, so Sony first, would you like to just send a message out there to everyone who has maybe lost a family member and doesn't know where they are?
The first goes to this hangout events. For me, I just want you guys to go ahead and continue connecting the people who lose their contact with their friends, and then let them see each other the face to face, so that they can recall or remember how they look. And then secondly, that since we are still alive, we meet those people who that we don't have their contact. As long as they are still alive and then we're still alive, the best thing is that to continue waiting, to have a hope. Don't lose a hope that one day you'll see them again.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Let's switch the headphones to Farhia, or if you can hear me, Farhia, would you mind asking Edmund what advice he has for people who are still looking for their family?
Edmund, unaulizwa uko na kitu gani ungependa kuambia wale watu ambao bado wanatafuta familia yao?
You can switch the headphones.
Ni kwamba wasikate tamaa kwamba hawatawaona wale wamekosa, ijapokuwa tu ni kuendelea kutafutisha na kungojea na kuamini tu kwamba watafikia siku moja ama kuwapata. Yeah.
What Edmond is saying that he's telling those guys out there who are looking for their family that they should just search for them, and they should have this hope that one day they'll meet, as he has met his uncle, and today he's seeing him like face to face. So the issue is that they should not lose hope. They should just search for them.
That's great. All right, well, Edmund and Sony, I want you guys to go over to a private hangout so you can catch up face-to-face without all of us here watching. Thank you so much to both of us for being here, and I'm so glad that you were able to find each other after 7 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, Edmund. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Next, I want to bring up some of the people who helped coordinate this and people who are on the ground in Congo working with refugees and to reunite them. I'm bringing up the East Africa Project Coordinator, Rebecca Wayness, UNCR Head of Communications, Service, and Spokesperson for the High Commissioner, Melissa Fleming, and the CWS Director of Immigration and Refugee Programs, Errol Kessick. Hi.
Hi.
Errol, I believe you are muted.
How about now? Let's
We've
try that.
gotcha. Perfect. Before we even go into what you guys are doing, could we just talk about what that moment was like for all of you, how that felt? How about we start with Rebecca?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. And Alexandra, thanks for your great work moderating. That was really incredible to see. You know, I think all of us, we do this work every day, and, you know, a lot of us have seen these reconnections in person, but, you know, to have that over air, you know, it really is quite similar to how it has been for me to see in person. It was really, really beautiful and amazing to watch. So I'm happy that they were able to do this.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Errol?
Well, we help families reunite on a regular basis, and this was very similar to what we see across the airports in the United States when people who are resettled come to join their family members, and it's extremely powerful, and it's what this work is all about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Rebecca?
Or Melissa?
Yes?
Oh, sorry, Melissa.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. I mean, for me, it was really stirring. I mean, we're generally speaking about the misery of people who are displaced, their tough life in exile, their longing to go home. We tell stories of family separation, of survival, but these wonderful positive moments of reunification, because I think one thing that every refugee has in common that just came across so clearly in this conversation is the desire to go home and the desire to reunite with family. So it was a wonderful moment, and I hope they're having a fantastic conversation right now, shedding lots of tears, I presume.
I think that one of the most remarkable things about their interaction and the things that they told to us is how overwhelmingly positive they've remained in spite of all of the difficult circumstances they have faced. Could we just go around, I guess in the circle or the line, we'll start with Rebecca, then Errol, and then Melissa, talking about the work that you're doing kind of to instill hope in these people who've lost their families and to reunite them.
Absolutely. So I work for Refugees United, and we are a technology nonprofit organization, and we help families to reconnect over an online and mobile service. And so our tool was created because what was happening in 2008 when our founders created the tool was that there was just so many different organizations, and they really felt the need through a personal experience to create, you know, one global database that everybody would be able to access from anywhere in the world, and also on their own terms. So this tool really empowers people to log in from their own phones and their own homes and search for the people that they're looking for. So that's sort of the basis of what we do, and you know, we have a lot of different ways of doing this. We work in 7 different countries, but we also have a really truly global tool and a global campaign through different communications and radio campaigns. We really, you know, we have reconnections all over the world, so it's really exciting work for us.
That's great. I think it's wonderful that you're incorporating technology into all of this, because it's something that, you know, a lot of people are able to access now, whether it's their own or someone else's, and this database sounds really brilliant. Errol, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing at CWS?
Sure, with pleasure. I direct the program, the largest program of the Churchful Services in Churchful Services portfolio. We have been around for about 70 years now, and have engaged in disaster relief, development, and refugee assistance, both overseas and domestically. Since we started in 1946, Churchful Services helped some 800,000 plus refugees and Cuban and Haitian entrants come to the United States. So we're partially responsible for what seem odd communities across the U.S. that have strange names, such as Frankenmuth and Holland in Michigan and other places in which refugees following Second World War were populating, coming to the United States looking for that opportunity, and that work continues today. This past year, we have helped about 7,000 refugees and some 8,000 Cuban and Haitian entrants come to the U.S., and a countless number of other immigrants who were looking for legal assistance here in the United States.
Wow, that's great. Can you tell us a little bit about the process and how difficult it is to bring refugees here?
Well, it's extremely difficult, as you can imagine, and the process is quite long. The United States is and continues to be a champion when it comes to refugee resettlement. There's an official refugee resettlement program that one can enter based upon a referral from UNHCR. But basically, if the UN Refugee Agency determines that somebody is in need of resettlement as a durable solution or tool of refugee protection, they're referred to a resettlement pipeline. We have a large office in Nairobi, Kenya, where our staff is based, but they travel to some 48 countries in sub-Saharan Africa to interview refugees where they are, to collect the information and put their stories together. Once that step is completed, the United States government, part of the Department of Homeland Security and their USCIS service, is called out to the field to conduct final interviews with refugees and then make the final determination whether somebody should and could get refugee status. If they do, they undergo a number of security and other checks in order to be approved to enter the United States. Once that approval is gained, domestic agency, and we are both an international and domestic agency, one of the few here in the United States, is informed, and then we try to find proper destination for these refugees to come to the U.S. And that's really based upon family members. If there are any here, we try to move people to where their family members are. If they aren't, we try to find volunteers and sponsors or co-sponsors domestically who will be able to help refugees adjust here in the U.S.
Wow. It's amazing because I think a lot of people don't even know that that work is going on or the process that it takes in order to bring people here. But I think that the work you guys are doing is great. Melissa, can you tell us first briefly what UNHCR does, and then can you give us just some context on the Congo and everything that Sony and Edmund may have had to go through?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we're completely grateful for the Church World Service for all the work that they do. They get to see the really positive moments because it really is an arduous process that he was describing. And the U.S. is exemplary in the number of refugees that it allows to resettle there. And unfortunately, only 10% of the people that UNHCR identifies as needing another place to go other than the place they're in right now are able to be resettled. There are just not enough countries who are coming forward and saying, we will take these people. So there are too many people, too many refugees who are living in conditions that are extremely difficult. And this is something that really tears at our heartstrings because, of course, we help refugees survive. Once they've crossed an international border, they have gone through hell. They've fled a conflict. They've seen family members die. They've seen their homes destroyed. They've lost things that we can't even imagine. And yet they're willing to pick up the pieces of their lives and to move on if we can give them the opportunity. UNHCR is there to provide what we call refugee protection. There's an international treaty that requires countries to provide asylum, and UNHCR is mandated to provide shelter, to provide all of the things that people need in order to survive in exile. The Democratic Republic of the Congo, I assume we're talking about the DRC and not the Republic of the Congo. It has been a refugee-producing country for many years now. It's a very unstable place, particularly the eastern part of the country. It's so insecure that it has about 500,000 refugees that haven't been able to go home for about 20 years. So and it keeps producing more because the conflict and the instability continues to rage, and it's due to a lack of governance, a lack of ability of the central government to control parts of the country, horrible militia groups fighting against each other, and civilians with no real safety to be able to survive in many parts of the country. So it's a very sorry situation, and you see then these wonderful people like Edmund and like the nephew who are just having to flee and start their lives over. So UNHCR is there to help them. Refugees United is there to help bring them together, and the Church World Service is there to help them get resettled. But it is absolutely not enough. So we're very grateful to Google to help us raise awareness about all the needs reunite families and to support refugees around the world.
I'm tearing up just hearing all of this, and I think that a lot of people watching are probably wondering what they can do to help these people, what they can do to help refugees around the world. So I guess starting with Rebecca, can you tell people how they can work with Refugees United? How can someone like me or people watching this hangout help your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, there's more than 45 million displaced people today, and, you know, that number is sadly continuing to grow. And, you know, while we don't have any positions open for volunteers, we do encourage you to visit our website and donate if you can, because the work that we do, you know, we actually have refugees who are working for us as paid volunteers who are going into refugee camps in Kenya and in Tanzania very soon, and are going door to door, and they're registering people, and they're telling their communities about how important this tool is and about how the Refugees United tool can actually help them find their families. And so, you know, if you feel the need, if you feel like you can donate, or you know, just to really spread the word about our tool, that would be really amazing, just to get as many people aware as they can. And you know, a big part of what we do is trying to bridge high and low tech. And so I think when people hear technology organization, they think, you know, maybe we're just using the fancy tools, but really we've learned that the best tools and the best items for us are low tech, and we have to realize that the people that we're working with are often accessing our tool from, you know, a very low grade phone in an environment that doesn't have very good internet access. And so we've made it available for people to access this tool without internet at all. And they can even call, we now have an international call center that people can call to access this if they are not very literate, or they don't have you know, access to a phone all that often. They can dial from Kenya 0800-724-882, and all the information is on our website. So please do, you know, share this with your networks, donate if you can, and you know, continue following us on Twitter and on Facebook and on our Tumblr. You know, we have updates all the time about what we're doing, and if you want to get involved further, certainly reach out to us on one of those platforms.
That's great. Errol, how can people get involved with your organization? What's the best way? And I want to say also specifically for young people to help out.
Well, there are three concrete ways in which you can be a part of this. You can volunteer. There are 9 national resettlement agencies here in the United States, of which CWS is one. Collectively, we have more than 250 local offices around the country. You can find the local office by going to the website of the Refugee Council USA, which is basically an umbrella organization under which all of these national resettlement agencies and their local affiliates are incorporated. You can find the listings there as well as the map. You can co-sponsor a refugee. You can become a mentor to kids who are coming and wanting to go to school. You can help furnish the apartment, take new Americans to the grocery store, explain why we have so many foods that are really bad for you and our shelves. It will change your life, I'll guarantee that. And if you want to be a part of World's Affairs without ever leaving your hometown, you can do that by just looking up your local resettlement agency, and you'll realize that what you see on the news is reflected in your local community on a regular basis. And lastly, if you don't want to do any of that and you just really want to help but you don't really know how or don't have the time to commit to volunteer, as Rebecca earlier said, donate to any of our agencies. Donate to any agency in your local town, and be sure that every single dollar and cent counts.
Wow, that's really moving, because when my family moved here from Zimbabwe, it was organizations like yours that helped us to survive. In every way, from, you know, helping to bring us food to, at Christmas time, they would deliver Christmas presents onto our doorstep and do very kind things for my family and I. So thank you to your organization for everything you're doing to help refugee families.
Thank you.
Melissa, how can people get involved with UNHCR?
I wanted to comment on that. I mean, I am American, so I would say this, but I live in Europe, and I have for many years, and I have to say there's a wonderful volunteering spirit in the U.S., and I loved those examples of what people could do to help, because I think it is life-changing if you can be involved and get to meet these people, and you really will make a meaningful contribution, even if it's just helping one person or just one family. That it can make all the difference. It's a very lonely place, as you know, Alexandra, when you have to move to another country. Maybe you want to move there, but I'm thinking also of the asylum seekers in other countries, people who have not been resettled, who maybe are there on a temporary basis, and they're in a very difficult situation in many countries in the world, very lonely, very isolated. So ask yourself, have you ever met a refugee? And maybe just challenge yourself in your city. I'm going to figure out. It's not that easy in Europe and in other places to volunteer. There's not that much of a culture. They think the state can take care of everything. But there are NGOs and there are ways to get involved and to just learn about what a refugee goes through. I think too few people in the world really understand what those 43 million people who've had to flee their homes actually went through. Of course, for UNHCR, we're always in need of funds, having to take care of all of these people. So if you do want to do anything for the global refugee organization, please do consider donating at unhcr.org.
Great, great. You guys heard that. Please consider donating at unhcr.org. We have a couple questions here that have been +1 by our viewers, and I want to bring them up. One of our first questions is, I'm wondering, how hard is it to actually find these refugees' families in Africa? And maybe you can tell us how Edmund and Sony were found and then eventually reunited here.
I can start, I suppose. We have Churchville Services helped resettle Sony into one of our offices in North Carolina, and we were able to have a conversation with him. Then he pointed out that he had a relative in Nairobi, and that's where Refugees United came in quite handy, as well as UNHCR colleagues, to help locate the individual, who was then able to come to the office today. And I invite my colleagues to jump in at any point.
Well, I have to say, you know, if UNHCR, one of its biggest roles is to register refugees. So everybody who claims asylum actually comes, especially in African countries, relies on UNHCR to register every refugee. And that's not just ticking off a box and knowing a name and a number. We know the whole story of that person. So if somebody would approach us and say, I have a relative, this is so-and-so's name, looking for so-and-so, we can make that connection.
What about you, Rebecca?
Yeah. So I mean, so what we've done in this case, the way that we find refugees by going door to door in many cases. Like I was saying, we have refugees themselves who work as volunteers for us in Kakuma and Dadaab, which are 2 refugee camps in Kenya. Dadaab is actually the largest refugee camp in the world, with over 500,000 people in it. And so folks will go door to door and hold community forums, and then, you know, people can come and register, and we can help them with the tool. And then we also do a lot of global campaigns. We work in 7 different countries, as I've said, but we also do radio campaigns and SMS campaigns, working with different mobile subscribers and technology partners, so that people in different urban areas as well, and different places where we know that there are high numbers of refugees, will receive information about how to call our international call center and be assisted in one of 7 languages. So that's how we find them, I guess.
Wow. I'm going to ask you this question as well, Rebecca. Taylor Manis wants to know, do you have capabilities and or services to help the reunited family members maintain contact after reunited? And my guess is that Taylor is asking specifically about Edmund and Sony.
Right. So, you know, over the platform, the 2 can exchange phone numbers. If you can hear me, we just lost power. I don't know if my internet's going to go out. I'm trying to put in another internet source right now. That hopefully will save us in a moment. Anyways, sorry for the darkness. I'm sorry, I lost my focus for a minute. So in the case of most of our refugees, you know, they can exchange phone numbers over the internet when they message each other for the first time. And so we encourage them to speak over the phone, and then we also try and do different things like this with people who are actually in Nairobi, where we can say, you know, please come to our office, and we try and set up different, you know, Skype or Google Plus calls with people. You know, but other than that, you know, we think that this is so personal for people, and we don't want to be too involved in how they choose to stay connected with each other.
That makes sense. Well, thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you to everyone who is watching. I think if there's anything that we learned today, that I learned today, one, it's just of the amazing resilience of all of these people who are still looking for their family members and all of the hope and positivity they have, and I hope that we can all take that home with us. And also that it's really easy to help out. And as you've heard here, every dollar counts. Every minute you can spend volunteering counts. I just spent way too much money on a coffee when I could have spent that money doing something positive for someone else. So guys, if you'd like to help out Refugees United, please visit www.refunite.org, refunite.org. UNHCR is www.unhcr.org. And CWS is www.cwsglobal.org. I work at Riot News. We're a company that tries to attach actions to every news story, so we're not just reporting sad things, but teaching you how to make them better. We're at www.roit.org. And if you guys have any last words, feel free to chime in. Otherwise, I think that we're done here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much, and thanks for your amazing work.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.